Hello, friends. FPL is back after an international break. We are into game week 12 now, and the rivalries and the games are becoming more and more intense. Today, we have our friend and a fellow LFC colleague, Albin Thomas, all the way from Australia. He gets up at 6 o'clock to watch the weekend games and then ensures that he wins big. This week was a masterstroke by him. His team will cover later on. But to start off with, in a game week wherein the average score was 49, he doubled the tally. So I feel very privileged to welcome our LSC colleague and our friend Albin Thomas along with Yashaswa. Welcome, Albin.
Hey,
Hi,
thanks,
Albin.
Sushant. Hey, Sushant.
Good to have you.
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good to be here.
So, Albin,
So
what's
nice
the
to be.
time right now in Australia?
The time right now is 9:36 p.m.
9 at 6 p.m. Great, great. So tell us, man, how does it feel to be manager of the game week and to score 100 plus points?
Right.
Yeah, I always wanted to score 100. I always used to come close. This last 10 game weeks have been quite average. I used to get an average of 60 to 65, but now it's good. I hit the 100 tally quite early.
Okay.
Amazing.
So wanted to know about what has been the key thing that has clicked for you, because I see your rank has been on the lower side for now, but it definitely, I mean, it drastically improved in the last game week. You were having game week rank of 2.2k, so not many can achieve that, and it was probably a dream game week for you, especially when people were struggling to even score 40, 50 points.
Yeah.
So walk us through your team, bro.
So yeah, so this is my initial team. Before this, I initially had McNeil, Jackson, and Havertz, and their Havertz was on many people's hit list to get out of the team. So I just kicked
Right.
Havertz out. And the current person on form, I was stuck between Cunha and Raul Jimenez, and even Larson as well. Starred Larson. So I was like, I had to choose between one, and Cunha had the most expected goal ratio for the next few game weeks. So I went for Cunha. And then the Manchester United had a good bunch of games coming up, like Leicester, Ipswich, and there are a bunch of good games coming up. So I thought, why not? I had Bruno initially when I had him for the first 2 to 3 game weeks. He was extremely poor. He gave like 2 to 3 points, just 2 to 3 points over 3 game weeks, and I had to kick him out. So now I bought him back in last week, and then I had to choose between either the captain, my favorite player Salah, or Bruno, my rival player. So I was like, okay, let's try something different. Let's just go for Bruno because Bruno has a comparatively easier game than Salah. So I just took a gamble with Bruno and it paid out.
It paid out big time.
Yep.
Yeah. And having ESR as well also worked for you. So overall,
Yep.
whatever transfers you did, they were like they gave you three times returns basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
I haven't removed ESR since the start. I was playing around Dwight McNeil for the last 3 game weeks. And when he recently got injured, I thought, okay, it's time for him to go. So I stuck Bruno Fernandes in with the money in the bank.
So overall, Sushank, I wanted to ask how this team looks on paper, and is there anything that can be added to improve Albin's rank?
See, on paper, it looks like a good team. But if you look, there were 9 returning players, which is a great, great ratio out of 11 players. And the one who blanked were Flecken and Johnson, who ideally, looking at the fixture, should have been scoring. The great thing to learn about Alvi's team is look at the back. All the defenders have given him point. Eight Nori giving him 6 points. That was the first clean sheet Wolves had. So great begin. As he mentioned, Manchester United, Mazrui gave him a clean sheet over there as well. And then let me not speak about the Bruno move. I mean, anyone who got Bruno in their team this game week, that has been like hats off to them. True respect to them. And then to captain him, master stroke. And we
Exactly.
always speak on this, how good a team balance is all about. And he has Haaland, he has Bruno now, and he has Salah. So it's a great combination. Then he has Mbumo and Cunha as well. So I believe this is a great team. It surely looks misses a Palmer, but that's the option we have, I believe, because the funds would be taken by Haaland and Salah. And what I want to check with Albin is he normally in FPL is being believed that try to avoid the minus hits as much as possible. And this is the second time Albin has taken a negativity in this season. And in this game week, that move has paid him big time. So, Alvin, what's your thought process when it comes to take negative when it comes down to taking negatives?
So when I usually select my team, usually people select it for that particular game weeks or 1 to 2 game weeks. I select on a span of the next 6 game weeks. So, I see that in the next few coming game weeks, like 12, 13, 14, or even 15, I'll probably just use the free transfer if needed, else I'll just not use it at all. So I took an initial hit because my wild card didn't go exactly as planned. And then I had to take a hit to remove 2 injured players, and then I was like, fine. And then Havertz was not clicking, Jackson was not clicking, McNeil got injured, so I knew that okay, I had to make changes and get negative hits, and probably I knew the I probably have to remove Johnson in the future or maybe someone else, and otherwise the team works perfectly fine for the next few game weeks. So I thought, okay, let's just get a negative hit just for now, and then look later on.
So, Yashaswa, I believe as long as there is clarity and
Exactly.
there is an idea of how we are going to do and which place we are going to ship out, I mean, you can
Yeah.
always catch up ranks. And Albin's team this game week is a true testament to that statement. Uh,
I
speaking
wanted
of
to ask.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Wanted to ask one thing, Sushant and Albin. When we
Hmm.
talk about making the team, so Albin mentioned like 6 game weeks. So if we talk about the upcoming game weeks for City, Haaland is going to face Tottenham and then Liverpool. So anything in your mind considering the inclusion of Haaland for upcoming game weeks?
See, I last year I had a very good start, and I everyone is like, should I? I was like, okay, I'll just take out Haaland. How much damage will I get? I was in the JPL top 30, and once I removed Haaland, I just came crashing down all the way to 200. So I
Oh,
didn't want to play the same price. So either if unless he's injured, I'm planning to not throw him out because he just has some way to score. So it's like, okay, I'll just keep him in for now. And there's no sure starters with Isaac. Isaac does have a good run of fixtures, but there's no one else who's stand out right now. And Chris Wood also has a bunch of tough games coming up. So I
Yeah.
thought, okay, I'll just stick with Haaland, and I have 2.1 million in the bank. So if I do want to bring someone else, I can just bring them in later.
question
I
to you,
mean,
Sushant.
she just got delayed for a year, I think. That move, the same move of removing Haaland a year this year, the ones who have did it, it's a masterstroke this year. And now I think we three we have Haaland in our team, and the time to ship out Haaland is gone now. Because if you
Right.
want to ship out Haaland now, it is going to take at least couple of extra transfers, which means another minus hit. And then if he scores, that we have no place to hide again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
And
yeah, Alvin, you said that you have an
considering,
horizon of 6 game weeks. So
Yeah.
we just want to understand from you that which are the players you are targeting in the upcoming game weeks now.
See, in the upcoming game weeks, I have 4 to 5 players I'm targeting. Initially, I had Chelsea players in mind, but
Mhm.
they have a bunch of first 2 games are easy and rest all get very difficult. So I'd probably take them probably in game week 14 or 15 when the fixtures get easier. But for now, I've targeted these four. And
Okay.
first, I'll start with Euro. Manchester United have a bunch of easy fixtures, not easy at middle level fixtures which are coming up. And Lisandro Martinez has been injured and he has come back from Argentina, and then he's not fully fit and he might not play possibly the next 1 to 2 game weeks. And Euro was declared completely fit by Amorim in the last press conference, and he hasn't played a game, and he's used to playing the three at the back formation. So there's a high chance that at least as a sub, Euro would be starting, and at just 4.3 million, it's like almost a bargain
right.
for those who do not want to get like a cheap bargain. So Euro is in. Other one is Van Heck. Brighton have one of the best fixtures over the next 4 to 5 game weeks, so I thought let's bring in Van Heck and Mitoma. Currently, Lewis Dunk is injured, and even if Lewis Dunk
Mhm.
is playing, he's less preferred over Igor because they prefer a left-footed centre back. So they usually prefer Igor. So Van Heck has got to, I guess, one of the most times after Veltman. So based on the current fixtures and how good Brighton have been at the back, I thought of bringing Van Heck in as well. Gordon, it was actually supposed to be Isaac, but then after Gordon's recent run of form, and he even scored in the game against Ireland this weekend. So, and his game against Greece was also good as well. So I thought, okay, let's bring in Gordon. and he's I guess a mil or point 0.9 cheaper than Isaac. So I thought, okay, let me just bring in Gordon for now. Barnes is a good option, but the issue with Barnes is he gets very less game time. So I
Yeah.
thought Gordon is the smarter option. And then Brighton, people usually are currently going for Joao Pedro or Welbeck, but their
Hmm.
timings, their game time is mixed. Sometimes Welbeck plays, sometimes
Yeah.
Joao Pedro plays. So I didn't want to take a gamble. So if I'm changing, I'm probably trying to kick out Brennan Johnson and either bring in Mitoma or remove Mbuemo based on to check how his fitness is. If he's actually not fit, I'll probably remove Mbuemo and bring in Cole Palmer because I have the funds. So it's either Mitoma or Palmer which I'm planning for now.
Before I ask you any question, Albin, to all our listeners and to all our friends, let me just tell you this. When someone wins manager of the game week and scores 104 points, it is very easy to say he was lucky with Bruno move. He was lucky with this move and that move. But this detailed description that Albin gave us just now tells you about the amount of study and the amount of homework that goes behind the scene after, and this is just for picking a player for the next 6 game weeks. So I think this is the experience for the last 10 years you have been playing for Albin. And we are really glad to have your insights and tell all our listeners that how the game functions and how easily you can catch up ranks even if you start badly. So thanks, Albin, for sharing that insight. And I was going to ask you the Jao Pedro question, but you covered that point as well. Anything you want to check with him, Yashaswa?
Uh, just a heads up basically in terms of Mitoma. So when the last international break took place, he started from bench. So just in case if you're planning to bring him in, you got to check that stat as well. And
Okay.
I believe that if you're planning for Palmer, so it's the best move, I would say.
I'm thinking about Palmer, but when I last checked, I think a few hours ago, it showed 75 chance of playing. But
Right.
then I just saw a photo of him posting with his girlfriend just 10 minutes ago. So there's a chance that he might play and he's not injured. So
So you check their Instagram profiles as well before you bring
yeah,
them in.
I just saw a post. I was like, okay, he's going to play.
Wow.
Another
And you
tangent
have
added. I was saying another tangent added in terms of
yeah,
doing the analysis in terms of fitness and availability of players.
yeah.
Yeah. So
See
coming
that.
to the teams that you have targeted for the upcoming game weeks, we took the data from you and you
Yeah.
mentioned three teams. First one is United, so
Yep.
probably the manager swing that you are talking about. Then
Yep.
we saw like two players from Brighton, and
Yep.
we have a couple of players from Wolves in your team. So walk us through.
Yep. So initially, why I took Man United is with Amorim, they should be able to go through Ipswich and Everton. They shouldn't be this thing. Arsenal away
Mhm.
and Man City away are going to be really big barriers. That's probably when I'll probably bench Bruno or probably just take him out because he's quite expensive at 8.4 and he should be around 8.6 if he does perform below the next 2 game weeks. And Nottingham, many people have underestimated. Some people who I know, I even put them in the list to be relegated. They have put Nottingham to be relegated. So I was like, and we already lost to Nottingham and they have been on really good form. So
Yeah,
after that, I'll probably see where Manu is. But then with the next 2 games in the current form, I'm picking Manchester United, and with Amorim's setup, I think they should at least be able to, Bruno should be able to get a few points for me,
yeah,
and Mazraoui as well. Even when he faces tough teams, he just still ends up with getting a good amount of points. And then going to Brighton, they have a really good amount of this thing. The Bournemouth game is definitely the hardest, which is coming up next week. Otherwise, after that, it gets quite easier. Leicester and Crystal Palace have been horrible. Southampton has
yeah,
been also horrible from there towards at their relegation point. Fulham away would be tough because they have just lost one game, I think, away from home, and that too to Aston Villa, and rest have they have lost two away to City and someone else. So, and with the current form they are in and the way they are playing, Brighton is also an easy fixture. Wolves was a surprise. Fulham away is tough, but then it does get easier. And many people have actually put Wolves in the top. They should finish in the top 8 or top 10, but unfortunately they are near relegation. I guess on 17th or 18th, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, Wolves should be a good pick. And most of the players, when I even watched some pundits reviews and stuff, and most of them I thought that don't underestimate Wolves,
yeah,
especially when when you're at when at their home they're one of the best teams. It's just like Newcastle at St James. They're extremely good at the Molineux. So I thought, okay, let me just, and Cunha doesn't cost. He's just 6.2, and I had extra money to spare. So I thought, let me just go for him and 8 Nuri. And 8 Nuri also has a bunch of really good fixtures coming up. But there's issue with Wolves is they have a bunch of easy games. But after these 5 to 6 games, the next 7 games, if I'm not wrong, they are facing Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Newcastle,
Correct.
basically everyone except Man City over the
In
next
that
six.
sequence. Yes. Correct.
Yeah. So then I'd probably kick or bench 8 Nuri and bring one of my subs. Currently, I have Rico Lewis and Aina from Nottingham as my subs. I'd probably put them in based on the jumper fixtures and plan accordingly.
Extremely detailed analysis in terms of the fixture swing. So Sushant, uh, you are also a Liverpool fan. Albin is also a Liverpool fan. We saw a new Manchester United manager coming in, who is kind of a tactical one. So, do
Yeah.
you feel that this is going to change the fortunes of United for good?
See, Amorim
Alvin,
is
you
a
can
very
take
good
that first.
coach. Yeah. Amorim is a really good coach. Even we wanted him in the beginning. And then after that,
Yeah.
he picked West Ham. And then there was a lot of drama. And then we told
Hmm.
him no. Even though Manchester United fans are telling he rejected us on Twitter. I'm not sure why. But yeah. So he's a really good tactical coach. He has done extremely well at Sporting. And they have not lost a single game in the league, especially with help of Gyökeres. And the setup is usually three at the back, which will be quite interesting because United actually do well with Dallet and whoever their left back is from time to time. But I'm not sure how the three at the back will work. But fortunately for Amorim, the next two to three fixtures are aimed at hard. His real test will come with Arsenal, City, and Nottingham. That's when we'll come to know, what this guy is actually made up of.
Sushant,
I
your
think
thoughts?
I I think we need to give him some time to settle down. For sure, he's known to be a tactical one, but at the end of the day, he was still coaching Sporting Lisbon. And after coming to Manchester United, the hype is already huge. It will just take a couple of defeats for all the hype to come down. I hope we all have said this in the past. We want the rivalry to be relieved again. We want them to come back to what they were. But it will take some time. You cannot just judge him in 3, 4, 5 days, like the way Nistorloi was being judged and praised and everything. So we need to give him time. He might have a flying start, as mentioned by Albin, because of the couple of fixtures. But the Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, we need to be aware that they are the second best defensive team in the league. I believe
Correct.
they are very close to Liverpool, who is the first best defensive team. So they have been playing exceptionally well, and it's not going to be an easy one. And it will give us an idea. That is the only reason I have not got for Bruno Fernandes yet. I just want to see how the game is going so far, how what the setup is. Once I'm okay with that, then probably I'll bring him in my team, and then he will stay for the next 10, 12, 14, 15 game weeks, because he's nicely bracket in those 8 to 9 million thing. And I don't want to collapse right now just because he scored in this one game week. So I believe it's a wait and watch thing. And with Wolves, when Albin mentioned, I think the O'Neill factor is slowly kicking in over there. It took some time for him to take charge and get the formation going. They were leaking goals at the start, but now they're scoring goals for fun, and it's fun to watch them.
Right.
Yasha, so your thoughts on Emory?
Uh, in the summer, it was like we wanted him. I went through the analysis part, the tactical part. So it felt like, yes, we are pretty much closer to what Klopp was. And then the rumors came in that West Ham has finalized the deal with Amorim. So a lot of things happened during the summer, and probably this is the reason why. Like, I mean, if Liverpool, I mean, since Liverpool are linked were linked to Amorim, that is the reason why the hype is there. Otherwise, you see, the hype building is crazy. As you mentioned, Ruud van Nistelrooy, he
Yeah.
won 2 games on trot, and now
Yeah.
he is the shortlisted candidate for Leicester City, who's going to, Steve Cooper is probably on the brinks of not relegated, but getting sacked. So I believe addition of Amorim is definitely going to boost United. Uh, they are technical, some good tactical players over there as well. Rashford is due. He is definitely going to come good under Amorim. That is what I feel. And then Bruno, captaincy material. Whether he performs or not, that is yet to be seen. And as you guys rightly mentioned, the biggest test lies after 2 game weeks when they visit Arsenal and City, and at the same time when Forest come in. So we'll have to see how Forest attack at Old Trafford and how they defend. So it is going to be, the test is going to start after the Arsenal game week, from the Arsenal game week, and we'll see, because we are now in probably December is approaching now. These game weeks are going to come thick and fast. So judgment would be very early, and let's start judging or probably start speculating about how good he is once January comes in, I believe.
There's one more reason
Talking
which I
about
would bring. Yeah, there's one more reason I bring in. Most of the people try to bring in clubs from the players from the top clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, and stuff. But if you look at the bunch of fixtures coming up, because I was looking at Liverpool's fixtures, they have Madrid, Girona, cups, everything within one game week. I think we have three games. Within one week, we
correct,
have three.
3 days.
So with most
Yeah.
of the European teams, they have a lot of games coming in thick and fast, and there are possibilities of injuries as well for each and every team. But if you look for teams like Brighton, who have a bunch of easy fixtures, and as well as Wolves, the chances of them getting injuries is quite less. So I thought, okay, let me just get things. Manchester United is a gamble, but based on their current form in the Europa, it's quite a hit and miss.
I believe, yeah, from now onwards until the mid of January, it's going to be crazy. Not from all the Premier League team, but for the teams which are playing European matches as well. It's going to be crazy over there. Yes, great. But talking about this experience and taking this ahead, Albin, we would want to know from you, how has your JPL experience been so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. I've been part of JPL for 3 to 4 years now, and as soon as Yashavar puts in the group, the thing I started, I message him the next day. I'm like, okay, can I have the link? How much is it? And just immediately get it done. So even now, I was in Australia. I was like, okay, no matter what, I just have to find a way to transfer money and get it done. And I texted him, I'm from Australia, and I'll get it done ASAP. And then I guess just within a week, I just got in, and I was like, yeah, it's been a pleasure experience, and the groups have also been good. And it's been a delightful experience. It's the first time I've been part of such a big FPL group, and I'm happy to be here.
Pretty much a vocal FPL group, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We are happy to have you around as well. And this is the first year where we have started with this podcast, wherein we are sharing the platform with all our friends and brothers who have been playing and trusting us with this game. And this is a good chance for to have a face to the name as well for everyone. So
right.
we are glad to have you here, and hope this is not the only time we have you, Albin, on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Great. Any parting thoughts from you, Albin?
Uh, just don't keep getting negative hits. Save it for the future. Just save it, and then most people tend to just. I've asked a few friends here, so every week they get negative, or they're like, okay, just for next two games are good. So after that, we'll again get negative. So I don't plan as two. So when 6 game weeks are done, I take a book and pen. I just calculate what all are there, or I probably just write in the notepad in my phone, and then again I'll change for the next 6 game weeks, and I calculate negative because last year I made a blunder and I kept getting. I think if I'm not wrong, I took almost minus 50 something over the entire game week.
And you did not play
50.
white card.
I did play my wild card, but then still I took minus 50 something, which was crazy. And this year I thought, okay, I'm not going to make the same mistake. So now I'm just going to, try to at least half the this thing. So yeah, that's my suggestion.
Thanks,
So coming
Alvin.
to,
Any parting thoughts from you before we wish you all the best as well, because we have been jumping the ranks in JPL quite quickly.
Yep.
it has become slower now, but then yeah, it has been pretty much on the green arrow. So coming to
Yeah.
Albin's thoughts of negative accumulation, basically I used to do that a lot, and then I realized that every point that you are taking off from your point tally that you accumulated, you're basically slipping in the ranks. And if you see the ranks in JPL, they are very tight, and to even take a -4, it is kind of turning out to be a gamble, because I currently have two free transfers, and I wanted to bring in certain players like Palmer was there. Palmer, I currently don't have Palmer. I wanted to bring in Palmer for Sun. So to bring in Palmer, I had to release some funds, and I thought, shall I take negatives and remove Haaland? So that Haaland thought came in, and then I heard about KDB being fit, and
Mhm.
a lot of people are coming back in for City. So that has stopped me from taking negatives, and I would suggest everyone avoid negatives as much as you can, because it is not necessary that whosoever you are bringing in is definitely going to give you more points than what you are expecting him to. So, one of the key takeaways from today's podcast, and apart from that, I really liked having conversation with Albin, because clarity of thoughts in terms of fixtures, players availability, and how they're performing, whatever European congestion is there. So all things mixed up, he has explained everything very nicely, and I genuinely took away some very good points from this podcast. So thank you, Albin.
Thank you, guys. It was great having you around. We will be back with our new podcast soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.